10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this June 17th, 2019 evening. Actually, Chris and I record the day before, so this is technically Father's Day. So, Chris, happy Father's Day.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to you.
You know, I never thought that I'd get to a stage in my life where actually someone would actually be saying that to me.
Well, congratulations, you made it.
I did.
This is a special Father's Day for me because it's quiet in my house.
I know. I heard you told me the two youngest are out.
Yeah, they went down to see the in-laws.
You know, Chris didn't kick him out of the house. They went with the mother, his mother.
Yeah, I will be joining them in 5 days because the older kids still have school. But I realized today it's so quiet in the house because the 5-year-old is not running around with his swords and guns.
Right. Oh, yours does that too, huh?
Of course, fighting. He fights with the 15-year-old. He's 5, but fights with someone 10 feet taller than him.
You know, it's funny. My son is not allowed. We don't let him have guns. You know, he has everything else.
That'll change.
But you know what he does? He makes his own guns out of Legos. My wife's like, "How did you know? Who taught you how to do that?" Well, who knows?
That's exactly what they do. They'll make up guns.
He made his own gun.
Let him have a gun. I said I'm not going to give up. I give my kids live ammunition guns.
Yeah, the problem is Amanda's sister got murdered with a gun. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's like a very bad subject in our house. So, obviously they're not into that. And obviously I'm not really a gun person. There's some guys out there that like shoot guns and go hunting. That's just not me. And because my dad never had any, so I was like, something that was in the house. And, I don't care about toy guns. It doesn't, to me, I don't think that one thing translates to another. I don't think that because you're holding a water pistol and shooting it that you're going to go out and buy an Uzi machine gun and take out a whole school. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think at some point you can't really shelter your kids, but it is what it is. They see it on TV. He watches YouTube. I mean, come on, that's where they see it. Notice this? Everything's Nerf guns now. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, so you should Nerf bullets, little.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they're all over the place. I mean,
might as well shoot cotton balls at people.
Right, but I'm just saying that seems to be the new toy of toys, as far as I guess cool things that are out there.
Well, it's a toy of toys because your son. I mean, it's been the toy of toys. You're just late to the game.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, so the Nerf.
It's like when people say to me, I discover a movie 10 years after it's been out. People are like, Chris, it's been out for 10 years.
That was my father used to always call me. He goes, "I saw a great movie. You got to see this thing." I'm like, "Dad, it's been out for fucking 8 years already." He's like, "I don't know. I just got it on VHS tape." I'm like, they still make those? My father was a classic with the he actually moved up to DVDs. Before he died, he was on DVDs, which is amazing in and of itself.
Remember Netflix used to have to get the stuff in the mail.
I know. That was a pretty cool idea too. What a company! Think about what talking about reinventing yourself. I always try to pride myself on reinventing everything we do over here at RxMuscle. Netflix was a movie rental company like Blockbuster, basically, and they said, you know what? We're going to get destroyed. Everything's going to go online. We're going to have competition from everyone. We got to do something different, and so they started making their own movies. I mean, how ingenious is that?
Well, before that. It was a streaming service before they made the original content.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, but they knew. They said, how are we going to make ourselves better than all the other streaming services?
Yeah.
We better do something different. Let's take all this revenue we made from renting movies and everything like that, and let's produce our own original content, like HBO or these other channels.
Remember how crowded Blockbuster used to be on like a Friday afternoon?
Oh my God! Yeah, everyone fighting over the same fucking movie that just came out on the newest movie, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And now it's gone.
You'd be like, yes, I got a copy. You'd actually wait for people to come and return it. And as they're coming in, you'd be like, you're returning that? Oh yeah, I'll take that,
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
And you'd
Like,
still
watch it on your phone.
Yeah, you'd rent the VHS tapes too, because the DVDs they charged more for them, didn't they?
That's right, they did.
And then they switched to DVDs. What a company that really went out of business. Think about it. Blockbuster could have done what Netflix did if they were just
Yeah, why not?
smart enough.
Well,
No one had more revenue than Blockbuster. You know,
I know.
I mean, they had a
That's
store in every
crazy.
corner. There was like 10 Blockbusters in like a 15-mile radius of my house.
I'm sure. Like I said, packed packed every night, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights would be insane.
And they had a lot of people working there too all the time.
Yeah.
People would kill each other over movies too. I completely blocked that out. That's a definitely Sal Palumbo statement. I blocked that out.
Blocked it out.
Yeah, that was.
It sounded like the South Palumbo
Yeah.
statement. Blocked it out.
Well, on Father's Day, I was thinking, I really, it feels like my dad passed away like 10 years ago, and
Yeah, I
it
know.
hasn't even been a year.
Of course.
Your dad too.
Yeah, my father died very recently.
Yeah.
3
So
months
this is our first Father's Day without a father. So
No.
you and I could sulk together and reminisce about our dads on Father's Day. I got one of my friends, Billy Anello, sent me a Facebook message saying, awarding me like I want to just send this to you because you're the greatest. I can't believe what a great dad you are, and you just spend all this time with your kids. And I'm thinking he wrote this personal message to me, but it was really just a chain email that everyone's sending around on Father's Day. I was really touched. I'm like, wow, Bill took a lot of time to really write this thing out to me. What a nice guy. I realized it's and then at the end there's like a little like medal, and I'm like, oh no, it's like a chain letter. I stop all the chain letters. You know how they always say it's bad luck if you don't repeat. Back in the day, people don't even know what a chain letter is. Back in the day, people used to mail letters out in the mail. You get in your mailbox, you get a chain letter saying, if you want good luck, make 10 copies of this, put it in an envelope, and send it out to 10 people. If you don't, you're gonna have terrible luck. I remember my parents my mother used to get them. She would fucking, the first time she got it, she made copies and did it. I'm like, what are you doing?
She didn't want bad luck.
Yeah. Meanwhile, then she got bad luck and she got sick, and she's like, "Fuck that." My father never fucking sent one of those things out ever. Now now you get them in email. It's a lot easier to resend them in email. You get so many people that follow you. I don't believe in. I purposely don't send them out.
I just rip them up.
I don't
I
believe
used to
in bad
rip them
luck.
up when I used to get them in college, and I just delete them now.
I don't believe in bad luck. I believe in bad thoughts. I think people
Yeah.
think bad thoughts, and that's their problem. So tomorrow I'm going to the finals of the World's Strongest Man are about an hour and a half
Are you kidding
from my
me?
house.
You're
Yeah,
going?
I might go. Yeah, I think this. So this is what we planned. So I said because Aaron was up there because his athlete Brian Shaw is in it, and he's trying to win. I think his 5th World's Strongest Man. Hapthor Bjornsson, the Mountain, the guy they call the Mountain in Game of Thrones. He won last year's. He's actually big. He's big. I didn't think anyone in the world was bigger than Brian Shaw. Brian Shaw's like 450 pounds, and he's like 6'9". Hapthor is like 6'11" and like 480 pounds or something like that. It's the two of them are like. It's worth it just to bring my kid there just to see these two behemoths, So they've been battling it out. I guess the preliminaries were Friday, and then they had off yesterday because they won their weight They broke them up into like 5 groups. If you won your group, then you got off Saturday, and then tomorrow's the finals. So we might go up there. It's a long. It's a little under 2 hours, but I don't. Who knows if the kids can handle it? We're gonna test it out. On the way, about halfway there in Sarasota, is this big cat like park. It's like they rescue like exotic wild cats like white tigers and lions. Stupid things that people get as pets, and then they can't take care of them because they realize this is a wild animal that bought. And so they send them to this cat park, and they have like a petting zoo there and everything. So we're gonna probably stop there, and that's our Father's Day thing, and then we'll spend that some time. Hopefully, if the kids are not like wiped out completely from that, then we'll go to the World's Strongest Man, and I'll do a
They
little.
will definitely be wiped out by the time.
I would think so, right?
Yeah, of course. They go down quick at that age.
We'll see. So
All that visual stimulation and animals and crowds. Crowds would do it. Crowds,
Yeah,
fresh
no.
air.
So I'm going to bring my camera, maybe I'll do. I might video the whole day. We'll see. You know, it's a pain in the ass, but I know it'll come out great if I just video everything I do tomorrow, like a day in the life of Dave Palumbo. People seem to like those crazy videos. And
you like the bodybuilding Kardashians?
Yeah. I don't do enough of those, but I know people like them. So.
No, people like them, but they like to see what goes on.
Well, if you're depressed on Father's Day, you can take some ketamine, which is also known as Special K. You know, the stuff they snort in clubs.
Of course.
We talked about that recently. But I think that they're using it now for resistant depression. You remember that little article or story we talked about it maybe about a year or two ago?
Resistant depression. No, I don't remember.
People who just even they take antidepressants, it doesn't help them. They're finding that they give them small amounts of ketamine, and it breaks the depression. Probably because they're fucking high as a kite.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's the most ridiculous. You know, anything that changes your mind state is going to make you less depressed temporarily, right? Alcohol, weed, speed.
So they've been doing this, and so Dr. Drew, you know Dr. Drew, the TV guy.
Yeah,
Dr. Drew.
He seems like a phony, but go ahead.
Yes, he probably is, as my dad would say, phony. He did a video I was watching online, and he has reevaluated his thinking on the ketamine for depression because he was talking to a patient, and the guy admitted to him that he was self-administering ketamine for his depression, and he was taking 5 grams of the stuff a day, which is like a ridiculous, fucking nutty amount. You know, the guy was basically high all day long. You know, we know a couple of bodybuilders that do that. Mm-hmm. So he's like, there might be abuse potential there for it. Oh, really? Oh, really? If you're taking ketamine all day, you don't think there's a little abuse potential there? Oh my God, what's gotten into people? We live in such a stupid society, don't we?
Well, it's of course we do. I mean, it's all.
You know what the funny thing is? When my dad was...
Did I answer that? I just said, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, no. My dad, he was legitimately had, degenerative spinal arthritis. And they would always be questioning, like, his prescription. Like, the guy's almost 90. I mean, do you really think the guy's a fucking, Percocet addict or oxycodone addict? Of course he is, but he's not like, my dad's not like popping like 25 extra. You give him 2 a day. He has a legit prescription. And they're always like, oh, we really have to look into this.
The fear is what? He's going to get addicted for the last 12 months.
Right. But the funny thing is that they're worried about my dad. But meanwhile, the 35-year-old guy who's got 4 prescriptions at 4 different pharmacies, they're filling it no problem. No one's even questioning it because he's paying cash for it,
Yeah.
And he's selling half the prescription and using the other half, to get high all day long. What a crazy society we live in. So my friend Ronnie Starantino, I went to high school with. He worked for the Sons of Anarchy TV show. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big show. He was I don't know exactly what his position was, but I know he's involved. They have a spin-off called The Mayans, which is like it takes place in the same Sons of Anarchy universe, same town and everything like that. And he had reached out to me and he said they're looking for bodybuilders, white bodybuilders and Asian bodybuilders, for this new bike club that they have in one of, I guess season 2 is going to feature this club called the Swell Boys. And
who would you recommend?
Well, right off the bat, the only 2 people I actually read, I posted it on my Facebook, and a lot of people have been responding. I saw Steve Kukla responding. He was like super fucking into it. He wanted to get. I said, call up Ronnie, And Ronnie promised me any bodybuilders that contact him, I put his number up there, he will submit their pictures personally, so they will absolutely at least get considered for the role. It's not going to be like they're just going to be, it's going to fall on deaf ears. I know I saw Eugene Mission put up his picture there. I don't know if, with Eugene's accent, if they want a Russian guy, but Eugene looks pretty tough, so he might fit into that little genre. But I thought right away when I heard Asian bodybuilder, I thought Stan McQuay, who kind of hangs out with those, I think he rides bike anyway. And then I also thought Jeremy Buendia, even though, we've had our battles with him, and I reached out to him too, because I figured they're both Asian. I think they're both Filipino, right? Of Philippine descent?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what did they mean by Asian? But go ahead. I mean,
they have Asian. They're
Asian.
supposed to look, they want a person that has an Asian look to them, I guess. Maybe because it's taking place in California, then in Northern California, wherever it is, Santa Clarita. So we'll see what happens. Let's see if there's any bodybuilders wind up getting into making the final cut. That would be pretty cool. Let me see what he wrote. Ronnie just wrote me
You
back.
find you
again.
get a finder's fee. You've sort of.
I just like
Maybe like the guy Mike. What's the guy's Mike up in New York? Who used
Mike
to
Lyons.
work.
Yeah,
Mike
Mike
Lyons.
I maybe they'll invite me to the set, even though I don't have time to go.
Exactly, Dave.
If they're chosen, it's coming up. The work dates are, I think he meant July. Nope, June 20th and June 21st. They pay $450 for 8 hours on the shoot days. And the interview alone, if they get called for an interview, is $112. So
they get paid $50 an hour.
yeah, that's pretty good. But then you get on the TV show too. It's kind of cool. I did a few things like that back in the day.
I know you get residuals for what? Your commercials or
Commercials,
your
you get residuals. Well, you get residuals for everything. I don't know if it's a speaking part or not. I would assume there's probably a couple lines. If you speak on a TV show, you get money. This might be a buyout because it seems like they're just paying them for the day, but there might be residuals. I don't know. It's always cool to get seen in different genres, and I know a lot of these bodybuilders would love to get into acting. So here's a great opportunity. You can contact my friend Ronnie Starantino at 310-560-4978. They want you to live in the California area, but yeah, look, if you're willing to come and stay there for those days, then then I'm sure there's no problem with that. You got to contact Ronnie. He's going to have you send pictures to him, and then he'll submit the pictures and everything. If Ronnie submits it, it's like it's going right to the top. You know what I mean? If you try to get it on yourself, you're never going to get on. So Ronnie's the man in there, and so that's always a cool opportunity. What else? I'm saving the good stuff. Luckily, there's no shows in the IFBB this past weekend that took place, so we don't. Chris and I don't have to talk about anything about bodybuilding. We can just talk about bodybuilding controversies, basically.
Which is what people like.
Of course. All right. Well, let's talk about the Nick Trigili situation. So Nick had posted on his Instagram and done a video on the fact that he heard that. First, he reported that Ramy was not working with Neil Hill anymore, which we kind of all assumed, but Neil never really heard. Like, Ramy never called up Neil and said, we're not working together. So Neil kind of was like, I don't know, he was a little disappointed that he never heard from Ramy himself. Then he was guaranteeing that you, and I asked you this on last week's show, you were working with Ramy. He guaranteed it, as a matter of fact. Even though you said that you weren't working with him, which I thought was pretty funny.
You got to. I mean, Nick Trigili's guarantee is pretty, rock solid.
Yeah. So we obviously did a video because I said, you know what, I'm not going to go on and do a rant because it's stupid. I got you. I mean, the only person who knows if you're working with Ramy is you, because you would be the final say. I mean, Ramy could say he's working with you, but if you haven't agreed to work with him, then you're not working with him. So I said, let's get Chris on the show because Chris can answer this question very quickly.
Well, I threatened to take a lie detector test.
You did.
I said, Dave, why don't you, we'll go down to the Portland Police Department. I know the chief. He'll hook me up to the lie detector test. He'll say, do you hate Sean Ray? I'll say no, and he'll go off. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, you're lying. Okay. And then they'll ask me, are you working with Ramy? And I'll say, no, I'm not. And then the machine will just go right to sleep.
Well, we know some bodybuilders that probably could pass the lie detector, Chris, even though they're lying, because they believe their own lies. I don't put you in that category, so I would assume that your answers would be correctly evaluated. Anyway, so after we put the video out, Nick went and did some kind of I have good sources, and so I said, you know what, this is ridiculous. I don't even dislike this kid, Nick, even though he's bad about me, but he didn't like it. So I said, I'm going to put an end to this because you know what, I don't. There's certain people that I don't mind being in a feud with. I don't really understand why I was in a feud with Nick, so I reached out to him via text and I said, look, Nick, first of all, I just want to say that you have bad information. I said, you're going to be there. There's someone over there in the Middle East that's making you look bad. They're feeding you information purposely so you leak it. And it's like the fake news, type of thing to try to create a situation that doesn't exist. You're being played. I said, trust me on this one. I said, Chris is my closest friend. I said,
I'll be in a sucker.
There's no why would Chris lie about this? I said, so you're being suckered into this. I said, secondly, I said, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why we're even in a feud. I said, because it's stupid. I said, we're both from the same area. I know you're trying to make money, but at the same time, he's like, well, I don't dislike you. I don't know. You just badmouth my product that I was selling. I said, Chris, I said, Nick, I said, if I critique your physique and don't think it's good on stage, does that mean I don't like you as a person? No, I'm critiquing your physique. You had a product you put out. I don't believe it works. And I don't, there's no science behind it. It has nothing to do with you personally. You can sell whatever you want. There's people that sell supplements that don't work. That doesn't mean I have to say they're great just because I'm friends with the person. So we made the peace. We made up. We're not feuding anymore. I even extended the olive branch for him to come on the TV show if he wants to.
Okay, I would like an apology issued against my credibility, saying that I was lying. And after when I said that I was not working with Ramy, he said, it's all going to come out. Chris is it's like a double-edged spy.
You're like a double agent.
Double-edged spy. Double agent.
Here's my, I'm going to defend you for a second, because first of all, you have the current reigning Mr. Olympia. You don't need Ramy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, people got to be reminded of that just so that they, because people are in denial.
Hani had Phil Heath all those years. You didn't see. I mean, I'm sure Hani would have taken other guys on, but he didn't really. He wasn't begging anyone because he had Mr. Olympia. So I'm sure if there was some scenario where you and Ramy were going to get together and work together, you would have said it, because it doesn't matter to you. I mean, you tell the truth. You don't lie about anything, so there's no reason for you to lie about that. It's the whole situation is weird. I wonder if Ramy was the one who spread it. I bet you Ramy probably told someone, I'd like to work with Chris.
Maybe Ramy said, I would like to work with Chris, and he said it in Arabic to someone, and they used Google Translator, and it didn't translate precisely, and then they sent that text to Nick, and Nick ran with it.
Yeah, or
Nick needs
but listen,
you know how Nick can gain his credibility back, because he lost his credibility, is he can reveal his sources.
I told him
because his sources ended up playing him.
Yeah, so we know who the source is.
The person who looks like a fool is Nick. And I will say on the radio, unfortunately, he came out with egg on his face.
Yeah.
And the way, and you know what? Because he trusted somebody. And somebody said, Nick, I know beyond a reasonable doubt with 100% facts that Chris is secretly working with Ramy. So that person must be somebody, quote, important, quote, close to Ramy.
Right.
Supposedly close to Ramy, who's making Nick look like an idiot.
Right.
So the way that Nick can, regain his credibility and people can say, oh, did you see who it was? No wonder why Nick ran with it.
Right.
Because Nick was played. He should reveal his sources. You should not reveal your sources when they're true.
Right.
You should never
if you get fooled,
but when they're making you to look like an absolute idiot, you should say, this is who it is. And Nick, I know you're listening to the show, so that's what you should do.
You're right. You're 100%. I think I agree.
And then people say, wow, can you believe it's so-and-so who told Nick? Because it's not, vegan gains of Louis Marco, for God's sakes.
You're right.
It's not radio people. It's somebody, quote, close to Ramy. That's why he could say with such a forceful opinion.
Do you think there's also a possibility that Ramy said, I want to work with Chris again, and I'm going to contact him, and this person took that as, well, they're going to work together, because you're the only guru probably who would say no to Ramy. Don't you think?
Of course. That's why I said, can you imagine the people like
who wouldn't say no to him? Like, is there any other person out there?
No.
I would say no. You know why? Because I don't want the drama. I don't need it.
People see it as it's a cash cow. It's a
they can latch their reputation onto him.
Oh yeah, it's an advertising mechanism. It's and you know what's so bizarre about it? Just name one guru, Dave. Just name one. It doesn't even have to be a popular person. Just name someone. Ramy is now working with John Smith. People like, oh, John will get him peeled to the bone and keep him full. He knows about carbs pre-training.
Right. You know what?
The nonsense that comes out.
You know what the truth is, and I'll say it. If Neil Hill failed, and I don't think Neil Hill is the greatest guru. I think he's one of the top guys out there. But Neil Hill is the most intense in terms of hands-on. He'll fly out, like he went out there. He put a lot of time into Ramy. So, and I'm sure he got paid for it. So he's not doing it for free. But the bottom line is that if Neil can't get his hooks into Ramy, and Ramy's like kind of slithering away from him, that tells me something about Ramy. It's like, what does he need? I don't know exactly what he needs. I think he almost needs I think the reason you got along well with him was because he almost saw you as as a parent, but not an overbearing parent.
Yeah. Dave, you just took the word.
You know what I mean? You gave him enough freedom.
I said, take it. Yeah, take it or leave it.
Right.
It's like my own kids. I said, you know what? You go. Kids walking out the door today, I give them the same thing. I said, you know what? Make sure you don't do anything wrong, but I'm not going to be there to force you to do it.
But he also, at the same time, likes to be micromanaged because he's so used to those guys all over him there in oxygen rooms over there. That I almost think he doesn't understand. He it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. Otherwise, he needs constant supervision. So I don't know. I still can't believe that he's going to even compete this year. But like you said it perfectly.
I predicted, Dave. I make all the predictions.
But you also said no. You said he's a genetic freak too. So there is a possibility we do see him on stage.
Fuck, everyone in the Olympics is a genetic freak. It's not like they're winning the main state bodybuilding show. I mean, everyone in there has got great genetics.
So I mean, Ramy could start training, for 6 weeks, and he could turn his whole body around. I'm sure.
I mean, look at Roden. Supposedly he's going to get 20th this year.
The funniest thing, if Roden goes in there and wins that Olympia again,
he's going to be hard to beat. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
I guarantee you. Today's.
Think about the talk that's going to go on. They're going to say he's a genius.
Super cycle.
Yeah. The aceto doubled his dosages from 400 milligrams a week to 800. Oh my God. You can't make this stuff up.
I talked to Ron Partlow yesterday, and he said, "How's Roden look?" I said, "Gigantic." He said, "I just saw him. He was small 3 weeks ago." I said, "He's gigantic."
That's called genetics, yeah. That's why how they always say if the Olympia was, I think even I'm trying to think who I just.
Kai Green is the Pittsburgh Mr. Olympia.
If the Olympia was drug tested, you'd have the same champions.
Oh, I guess such bullshit.
You would.
No, that's I don't believe.
No, not drug tested. Excuse me. If there was no steroids, there would be the same guys winning the Olympia.
No, that's not true.
You don't think so?
No, not at all.
So you think steroids influence some people better than others? No, but do you think they make certain people better?
Variations between yes, because
You don't think Phil Heath would have been Mr. Olympia without steroids?
I think that one person can take one thing, and the same other guy can take the same amount, and you get two radically different responses. Okay, and so you would think, well, this guy, they're using the same thing, and one guy's growing way faster than the other. Then they both train clean, and the guy with the less response grows better. So,
yeah, you might be right. I think Ronnie Coleman would have been Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, there's a strong correlation.
He would have probably won 15 years. He wouldn't have gotten hurt, probably, because he wouldn't have been that strong.
There's a strong correlation, but there's.
Yeah, I guess there's some people that just are hyper responders. Like, who knows if Leroni would have been, as good as he was without the steroids,
Well, Arnold wants a drug test, I hear. Is that true? You hear?
Yeah, and I think that's just him giving his lip service to the whole thing. You know what? Here's the stupid thing about the whole drug. I'm going to tell you what the problem with the drug testing is. We could drug test. If you're only drug testing the day of the show, you're not drug testing. It's actually, you're making it more dangerous, because now these guys are going to do crazier things to try to clean their system out, and you're better off either drug testing throughout the year like they do with the Olympics, random drug testing, and no one's going to do that because it's too expensive. and it's too time consuming, and they don't want to waste a penny more than they have to. Or you don't drug test at all, which is what they do now. We know people use steroids. They're going to continue to use them, whether you drug test or not.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you hoping to prove by drug testing? You're not going to stop the use of steroids. It's not going to happen. And if you're only testing in competition, that means that if you do one show a year, you can use steroids 50 weeks out of the year, and then for 2 weeks you can stop them and pass the drug test. What good is that? Is that really solving the problem?
Well,
the guys,
you know
what it'll do? You know what it would?
We need Olympic recognition.
Yeah, you know what it would do? It would not make the sport any safer. It would make it more dangerous because people would be using more of the fast-acting compounds that are more toxic, the orals and stuff like that, and it would just make people like you and me and Chad and Farrah just have even more people working with us, because now they have to beat a drug test. So now you're going to need the smartest guys that know how to be the craftiest at starting and stopping things. You become a real scientist then. So to me, that's not doing anything. That's not drug testing. That's just making the public think that you're drug testing. And who cares? The public doesn't care about bodybuilding anyway.
The public, yeah, exactly. The public just wants to watch the Kardashians, for God's sakes, myself included.
They want to watch the Super Bowl. They don't care. They don't care about bodybuilding. Only the bodybuilders care about bodybuilding. We care because we're into the sport. It's like the reptile breeders care about, what new snake morphs there are and color patterns and all that stuff, because that's what they're into. But the rest of the world doesn't care. It's just like bodybuilding. I mean, I care. We love bodybuilding, so we like to watch the contest, and we work with the athletes. So we want to see, guys get bigger and harder and stronger and rounder and more lean and all the other things that go along with that. But the general public doesn't care. They can appreciate it if they see the physique, but they don't give a shit. So drug testing is not going to do anything. The reason you usually drug test is because you're going to make the sport safer. That's the reason you drug test, right? I mean,
I always thought it was to make it more pure.
Yeah, no.
Make the most athletic person.
The political
Make
message.
the most athletic person rise.
Arnold said we want to drug test because we got to save these guys from killing themselves, right?
Is that what he said? I didn't know.
Yeah, that was the gist of the message. We got to protect the people. We don't want anyone to get hurt. This is bodybuilding supposed to be a healthy sport. We don't want people to go just like, I mean, you ever see some of these X Games sports? You think those are safe? Those guys don't do drugs, but they certainly do very unsafe stunts where they can break their neck at any moment, right?
How about drug test your strongman competition?
Yeah, but my point is that sports are not safe to begin with. A lot of them.
Look,
is football safe when you have a 400-pound?
I don't care about safety. What about your? He loves the strongman. The strongman people, lifting cars over their head, so they drug free.
but Chris,
just because they don't look.
Just because you take drugs, okay, to attain a certain level of a look in your body doesn't
The
mean
world can't survive without fucking antidepressants. What's the point?
Right. But everything's unsafe. So
that's what I mean.
You're not protecting.
Can't survive without antidepressants.
You're
People
not
can't
protecting.
Without popping some.
You're not protecting anyone by drug testing the Mr. Olympia competition. It's a joke. It's lip service.
Well, I guess you are. But just be ready for kind of sort of Big Ramy, and just be ready for. In other words, just be ready for like a diet version of what you see, and that includes the board shorts, classic, the bikini, for God's sakes. Oh my gosh, don't get me going. Can you imagine if Arnold said we got to drug test a bikini? People are like, what are you talking about? They take drugs. What?
Well, no, you can't just drug test the men's bodybuilding. You got to drug test everyone.
That's why I said you got to get the bikini checks going.
My point is, you're not saving anyone. You're not protecting anyone. There's no less drug use. There's more drug use when they have drug testing, and that's the truth of the matter. So let's just throw that nonsense notion out right now. It's stupid to even entertain it, to be honest with you. And look, I believe that the people who run the organization don't want anyone to get hurt, but they also know the reality. No, they also know the reality of the fact that people are going to use this stuff anyway.
I agree with that.
So just let them do what they're going to do, and that's it. It's on them. It's, if people want to go jump off a fucking cliff that's 100 feet high and dive into the water below, I mean, there's really nothing that anyone can do to stop them. I mean, if you get killed, then it's your own fault because you knew you were taking a risk. If you don't, and you set some kind of record, and someone videos you, and your video goes viral on YouTube, and you get a 10 million views on it, and then you get a contract from Nike to do extreme sport ads, then great. You know what? You got lucky. But there's a couple guys that are going to probably crack their skull open and die. There's a risk in everything you do, and it seems like in our world, at least, Chris, the people who take the most risks tend to be the most successful. Unfortunately, that just goes without saying. You know, people like to watch sensationalistic stuff. Yeah. Do you ever watch these videos where the guys jump off these cliffs with these jackets that like act like wings?
Yeah.
And they fly.
When I was a kid, I used to watch on ABC Sports diving off the cliffs of Acapulco.
No. I'm talking about the guys that jump off with the wings.
Crazy jet jackets. I don't know what you call them.
They're like they catch the wind and they fly with these things. And then they'll parachute at the last minute, and they go like 100 miles. They go probably faster than 100 miles an hour, and they go in between cliffs and stuff like that. Like they come within like inches of rocks and stuff like that. I mean,
a few people have crashed right into the rocks.
Yeah, you die instantly. You're like a bug hitting with a fly swatter. That's got to be the craziest thing of anything. I don't think there's any sport crazier than that, is there? Jumping off, jumping off a cliff with a jacket with a big wings. Jacket with wings. Isn't there like a Greek myth that the guy who flew too close to the sun and Icarus and and he melted, the wings melted, and he fell to the ground and died.
Yeah,
that's like that. I mean, we live in a crazy world. People do nutty shit. I mean, is that any more sane than bodybuilders? Who take anabolic steroids? I think the steroids are a lot safer. You're not going to kill yourself.
Flying into cliffs.
You're not going to fly into a cliff and die in 30 seconds.
Maybe there's someone listening who does that cliff flying.
Those guys are, I think, the most crazy of all of them. Seriously, I don't think there's anyone who does anything.
Yeah, but
crazy
they have low estrogen levels, Dave, and their cholesterol is perfect.
Right.
They're not taking risks that Dave Palumbo is taking.
The only other crazier people might be the guy. You ever see these guys in the X Games that jump the jet skis? Like they flip them around.
Completely nuts.
They're not jet skis. I mean the snow skis. They flip them. They go off like one. The ski jump. They go off the ski jump and they do like
my
fucking.
cousin used to do that.
That thing weighs like 800 pounds. Imagine that thing landed on you.
Yeah.
So people do crazy stuff. Let's talk about the Junior Nationals, which took place this past weekend. That was a pretty exciting show. That used to be my favorite show to go to, believe it or not. I don't think I missed. I went to something like 15 in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who used to promote it when you were going to it?
Pam Betts.
Oh, that's right.
She still does.
Does she still do it?
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
It's her show. They do it in Chicago. It's a great area. It's easy to fly into. It's right by the airport. It's right by O'Hare Airport. The hotels are reasonable. I love it. It's a great show. And all the new talent. You find that's when I used to go scouting for talent, for RxMuscle in the original days.
That's where I met you. When Dusty Hanshaw won his class, I met you there. We did a wrap-up for RxMuscle.
You're right. That was the first one. Was it for RX or was it for? Yeah, it was RxMuscle.
Yeah, it was RX because it was like I think you had to shit can it because I think I went nuts because I thought Dusty should have won. I said, "F these judges," and I didn't know you couldn't say all that stuff.
You can say whatever you want. I don't care. There's no way I would shit can something for someone going crazy. But anyway, I think this is like one of the best shows. Now, the only thing, and we say this every year, the only thing I don't like about the show is that every division gets pro cards except the men's open bodybuilding, which is ridiculously stupid in this day and age. They'll change everything but that. I don't know why. But I looked at the pictures, and I like the guy who won the overall, Nathan Epler. You see the pictures?
They're on NPC I am going to the pictures. I have to go to the bikini.
He reminds me of a Cody Montgomery physique. A little bit.
Men's, let's see.
Matter of fact, if you look at the back double bicep, you might think it's Cody Montgomery.
I better rush. The show's going to be over by the time I get to the pictures. Where's the...
I wonder how long... I haven't talked to anyone out there, but the show had been a very, very long show. The interesting thing is that the men's divisions, open divisions, almost have like no guys in them. And they want, and I'm sure they're probably like, you see, bodybuilding is suffering. No, well, they're not giving a pro card out. Why are these guys going to do the show? They give a pro card for classic physique, however. And if you look at the guy,
very logical explanation.
Well, I know because I have clients that are like, why should I do bodybuilding? I'm like, you know what? I can't even argue with them about it. I'm like, I don't know. You probably shouldn't. You have no chance of getting a pro card. Well, you might as well do classic physique.
Kid looks tremendous who won the Open.
Right? Really good.
Tremendous. Has balance, detail, fullness, good color. Very good look.
And then I go to the guy who won the...
Nothing's all shot up.
No, yeah, he's got good physique. Then I go and look at Blake Cornett, who won the classic physique. And
He also looks tremendous.
He looks great. Yeah, I mean, but is there much of a difference? No, I think that both guys look great. Why couldn't they both get pro cards?
Yeah.
So...
Why? You know what? We'll have to speak to... you'll have to speak through the back channels to Bob Ciccarello.
Yeah. I was thinking about asking Bob to come on the TV show. Maybe that would be a good interview.
There is no reason why the junior national winner should not be getting a pro card when everyone else in the show is getting a pro card. Makes complete 000 no sense.
I agree.
More important, I mean, what's the? I mean, you're giving the pro cards away in like Bolivia and Argentina and Ecuador and El Salvador like
Right.
gumdrops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an exaggeration, but the whole point is that you're going to countries where bodybuilding, is decent, but not as strong as it is here, and you're saying, here's a pro card. For the sake of allowing the sport to grow. Well, it will only grow, or this show will grow. Pam Betts will have 70 more people if they give out 2 pro cards next year.
You're right.
All the people getting ready for the USA in 6, 5, 7, 9 weeks from now would also do the juniors.
100% correct. Do you know how many pro cards they gave out in Classic?
400.
7.
7. It's insane. 7.
How about this? Maybe you don't want to give out. You have a certain quota in your head. How about give 5 in Classic and give 2 of those to the men's Open? How about that?
Dave, it's probably the most legitimate question on the shelf right now.
Yeah.
Why does the juniors not have a pro card?
We're at
And the answer is, well, we've always done it that way. Is like
it
bizarre.
doesn't hold up anymore now. It doesn't hold
And
up.
it's bizarre in the context of we're having a show in Lithuania this week, and you can fly. You can get 8. You can get technically 8 of the juniors here. Fly to one of these, let's say Lithuania or Bolivia. Not even be from Bolivia or Lithuania. Win the show. Get your pro card. You know that, right?
Yeah. No, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't have an answer. And you know what? This kid who won the juniors probably could have gotten his pro card in one of those European shows.
No, he looks tremendous.
I'm impressed. He does look like Cody though, a little, right? Physique-wise?
Yeah, he looks like Cody. Yeah, he does.
Look at the guy who came in second in the heavyweights, Reagan King. Looks really
In the
good.
heavies, Reagan King. It's hard for me to say that first name, but I'll say the last name. King. You didn't get that joke. He looks very good too.
Yeah.
Right?
I got the joke.
He looks good. He's
No,
full.
I thought he
He
was
looks
great.
bigger than it. He looks bigger than
Yeah. The other guy has better legs, I think. But
yeah, very good condition, very full, excellent, but both of them.
look at the third place guy in the heavies, Austin Ashbury.
Yeah, he would have won the Lithuanian show for sure, Austin.
He's got. They're all. These guys are in better shape than the USA guys are.
Yeah, he didn't have. Yeah, couldn't get the passport. Couldn't get the.
I think these guys could have done well in some of the pro shows that we saw this year where the conditioning wasn't as good.
That's all in the heavy. Let's go all the
Yeah.
way down to. Let's just go 6th. How's the 6th guy look?
Let's go to
Not as good as 1st and 2nd.
Let's go to 4th. Yeah, the 4th place. I think the top 3, I would say, were superb in the juniors. The other guys are
I
just
agree.
still. Look, this show is a show that guys that are not ready to do the USA, should do, or guys that are and want to make a name for themselves. So you have some guys that you can tell, or everyone seems to be in really good shape, but some guys are still growing into their physiques, and that's what the junior show is. It's one step up from the regional shows to get your feet wet, let the pro qualifying judges get a look at you and see and give you critique and criticism on how you can improve. But the guys that are good enough to win this show, okay, should be getting pro status. They should have done it years ago. Look at when DeMeo won the Junior Nationals. He probably was good enough to be a pro. He could have gotten a pro card back in the day.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's other than that, the show I thought was great. Julia Champlin won the figure overall. Jennifer St. Peter won the bikini overall. A lot of bikini girls. There had to be about 300 bikini girls, yeah. Missy, I can't even pronounce her name. I can't see. Casa Weffner won the fitness. We talked about Blake Cornett winning classic physique. And Lael Sims won the overall in men's physique. This guy has a better physique than the men's open bodybuilder. Did you see the men's physique winner? Remember when men's physique was supposed to be small, like a small beach body look? These guys have better upper bodies than the bodybuilders now.
You got to drug test them.
No, but it's just evolved the division into big guys now. It's a big guy show. It's a guy. It's a
Men's
no legs upper body contest.
Men's physique.
Yeah, men's physique. It's like the new wellness division they're coming out with. It's a butt contest. This is an upper body contest.
Yeah, he looks great. He's full hard. Looks like a 212 guy.
Good physique, really good. I'm impressed. Very impressed. So what are you doing on? Are you going down to Atlanta for Father's Day?
Well, no, I'm going on Wednesday to Atlanta for 5 days. Father's Day tomorrow. I will take my. Let's see. I will take my kids to a brunch, but I can't figure out where we're going to go because I found a list of like top 30 places to go. And after the show, I'm going to look at that gig.
What's number one?
I can't even remember. Well, they listed the top 30, but not in order. Just these are the best 30. So you got to make up your own decision. I like someone just to direct me. Look, you got to go this because it's number one. But then it's Father's Day, it should be crazy packed. So that's what we'll do. Me and the two older kids will go to brunch. They'll probably hate every minute of it. Want to be with their friends.
They don't want to be with Daddy anymore.
No, they do. And we'll hang out. And we're going to go see in the afternoon Godzilla, I think.
Oh. You're lucky. You're there at the good stage where they like to see movies. My son couldn't sit through it.
And then that's about it. It'll be a low key day, and yeah, this will be my first Father's Day without
the entire family.
Yeah, well, without my father being alive.
Oh yeah, you too.
Yeah, it'll be this is the first time. Yeah, I've never been at my house when my wife is out of the house, so and part of the family is out of the house.
Yeah, that's got to be a weird.
So it's bizarre, yeah.
I think last year, we went and visited my dad at the Gulf Coast Village there on Father's Day. He didn't know it was Father's Day until we told him, but we brought Logan and my daughter, who was an infant at the time, and my dad was. I think they even did something. They had a little party over there for all the Father's Days, all the I guess you could say kids of all the parents that were in Gulf Coast over there in that dementia unit my dad was in were there visiting. So it was fun.
What are you going to do for the?
I told you we're going to go to the big cat park, and I might go to the World's Strongest Man.
Right.
So.
See, I got dementia too.
Yeah.
Send me to your father's hospital. I'll fit right in. You told me that 2 minutes ago, and I forgot it.
Yeah. Oh, you and I told you we're going to be roommates over there.
No, I know. I just ran into someone today. He looks great, 72. He told me, I'm getting ready to retire, Chris. And I said, it's the worst. He's got an easy life. He's got a massive apartment complex that all he has to do is open up the envelopes. The place is paid off in
Right.
deposit checks. And I told him, you are going to, he looks so young. He's 72. I said, Vince, you're going to die early. You mark my, well, I guess you won't be able to mark my words when you're dead. I said, but you need to stay busy. And I mean, how hard is your job now? You just roam around the grounds, for God's
Right.
sakes.
Yeah, what is he, crazy?
Yeah. He said, well, my wife, I said,
You guys
I
will
said,
kill
how
each
much-
other.
we want to retire and go to Sarasota. He would say, it's funny, he wants to go to Sarasota. He's going to
Oh, that's funny.
down
That's
there.
where I'm going to be, yeah.
I said, you are going to go nuts looking at the ocean all day long.
Yeah. It's one thing to come down to Florida for the weather, but if you don't have something to do down here, you go nuts, like you said, out of your mind. I got so much to do. I'm one of these people that are like, oh, when you get older, your kids. I'm like, no, you know what? I've never been one of these guys that didn't have something to do because I always find things to do. I'm not a guy who'll just sit around saying, oh, calling my kids up and saying, oh, so what? You don't call me? You don't care about me? You don't think about?
Yeah.
I won't be one. I'll be the guy like my kids are like, Dad, how come you never call us? I'm like, you know where I am. I'm over here in the Snake Building, or I'm, picking oranges from the orange grove I have here, or I'm online writing bodybuilding diets. That'll be at 75 years old to be doing that.
Well, look at some of
Or you and I will be checked into the Gulf Coast Village,
No.
and you and I will be telling stories about the old days about
Oh,
Steve
Nick
Blackman.
Trigili. So remember that time Nick Trigili said I was working with the kid? Who's the kid from Egypt, the fisherman? The big legs, the one who was from Iraq.
Was it Nasser?
or-
Nasser or somebody? No, it was that other guy, the other big guy.
big renegade, Big Ramy.
And everyone will tell us, "Shut up, you two already with the bodybuilding stories." No one will even believe that we were bodybuilders. Did you? I don't know
I
if you
don't
heard.
believe it now. I mean, people, this cockamamie thing of like, if I hear another person say, Chris doesn't even look like he trains, I said, how about this? I don't. That's even better. I mean, it's one thing to not look like you train and you are training. That's pathetic.
I went to the gym for the first time in 6 months. I actually, because now my new thing is my son's in school now during the day for a few hours, and my mother-in-law watches my daughter. So on Friday, every other Friday or every third Friday, I take the dogs into the groomer. The gym's right next door. So I went into the gym. I told my wife, look, I'm going to stop for 20 minutes and do a little workout. Go into the gym. I'm training. And I see a guy who looks really good. And I can't remember who it is. I know him. Eric, his name is Eric Hernandez, and he's a classic physique pro. He just placed in the classic division, in the pro division at the Puerto Rico show. And he's doing another show this weekend. And he's got the Tampa show he's doing as well. So he was in a tank top. You could tell someone's going to compete. I know right away. And he looks really good. So I'm like, holy shit! I didn't even know he lived over here in Cape Coral. So we were talking. His English isn't great, but I'm going to bring him into the studio this week and do an interview with him. I said, you live right here. Come on in. We'll talk. And then he pulls out a picture that I had taken with him at like the 2014 Nationals or something like that. Where he turned pro in bodybuilding, and it was pretty funny. He had it on his phone. He knew exactly where it was too. I said, you must have 10,000 pictures on your phone. You knew where that picture was. So yeah, it was pretty funny. I said, the one day I go into the gym, I run into a pro bodybuilder. And in Cape Coral, of all places, probably the only pro bodybuilder in Cape Coral. Him and my wife. Right? Amanda and him. So Boston Lloyd lost his YouTube channel. He's like, I don't understand why. They took my YouTube channel away from me.
How's that work? Who takes it away?
YouTube.
Why?
The funny thing is that Boston
Why
doesn't.
did they take it?
Well, they just for they would say this content is not appropriate or something like that. The funny thing is that he doesn't even monetize his videos. Usually, when you monetize the videos, that's when they'll tell you this content is not monetizable because it's not suitable for whatever. But he actually lost his channel. He's like Dr. Tony Huge. Dr. Tony Huge loses a channel. As soon as it hits 10,000 subscribers, they take his channel away from him. He's got like 10 channels. He keeps rotating them. Mm-hmm. And I had him on this past week. He was doing a 7-day experiment. It's actually a 30-day or 20-day experiment, but he was doing a mini experiment within the experiment. 7 days, he had these 5 guys down there with him, One was this Kenny KO guy he's got a very popular YouTube channel, and they're taking like massive amounts of steroids for 7 days to see how much muscle they can put on or how much weight they can gain. And the funny thing is that none of these guys can make it. I'm like, you guys can't make because for 7 days you're not gonna kill yourself in 7 days. I'm like, you guys are the biggest bunch of pussies. You can't eat for you can't force feed yourself for 7 days. They're like, oh, I can't eat. I couldn't train yesterday. I feel so sick and bloated and this and
What
that.
is the point? What is his point?
It's sensationalistic stuff. He's the Tony Hughes is like the Dan Duchesne of the modern era.
I know, but how's he not in jail?
Well, because he's not breaking any laws. You can do whatever you want to your own body. He got in trouble. I don't know if he got in trouble. Or he says it's not his company. That Enhanced Muscle company owner got in trouble. I don't even know what's going on with that case, but he's a slick dude. He's a lawyer. He knows what he can get away with. It's freedom of speech. You can do whatever you want. Unless they come to your house and you have crates of steroids in your house that are illegal. Which I'm sure he doesn't. He does all this stuff in other countries. He's a crafty guy. They're not going to get him so easy. He knows what he's doing. He's a marketing genius, really, if you think about it. But he likes to experiment with different cycles.
Making any money? I guess you'd have to.
He's making very good money. He's driving Ferraris around. He's got to be making a lot of money. So
and I guess the answer is yes. He is a marketing genius.
So I did this. So I interviewed them. He contacted me. Said, "You want to do an interview with me?" I said, "Of course I want to do an interview with you." It was people want to watch it. It's a very funny interview. You're totally crazy on them, but they're really not doing anything that's that insane because they're all a bunch of like he's more extreme than all those other guys. So the other guy's like, I was taking 20 IUs of GH, but I couldn't. My hands were were pins and needles. I had to stop. I'm like, stop! It was 7 days. You guys can't suck this up for 7 days. If you're going to do the experiment for sucking 7 days. So, it's an amusing interview to see the least. Because I ask him a million questions, and Tony Hughes he'll answer any question you tell him. He doesn't have any reticence or anything. He'll answer anything. He's an open book, and that's why he's a great interview. Because I know I could ask him anything, and I know I could break those guys' balls, and they all have good sense of humor about themselves. So, one guy who's got a really good physique there. You watch the interview, you'll be like, holy mackerel. He had placed at the USA a few years ago, and then he stopped competing. He got into something else. But it was a good interview. I think people will like it. Our crowd will like it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Because
our crowd, they're hardcore, and they'll like anything that's extreme. They should make Tony Hughes the... how they always, whenever they arrest the person who's the most wanted guy, and then he winds up being the guy. Remember that movie Catch Me If You Can?
Yes.
He was forging checks.
Tremendous movie.
Yeah, great movie. And then he was forging checks, and he was defrauding the government. He even posed as a pilot for Pan Am. He was flying airplanes. He passed the bar exam, never had taken a class anywhere. And if you remember in the movie at the end, the guy who was chasing him, when they finally tracked him down and arrested him, he's like, I got to ask you one question. How did you do it? How did you pass the bar exam? Because he was forging checks and everything. They wanted to know how he did it. He's like, I studied for the test. The guy was a genius. He passed the bar exam, never took a day of law school.
Uh-huh.
That's a genius, you know what I mean?
Do you need to go to law school if you can pass the exam?
I don't know. It's a good question. Probably not. Why would you?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Why would you?
But you would think most people couldn't pass the bar exam unless they went to... Isn't Kim Kardashian taking the bar exam? She's studying. She's going to law school now.
I think she's trying to become a lawyer. Yeah. Maybe Trump in his second term can make her attorney general.
So that's a good interview. You guys want to catch that one? Maybe I'll get Boston Lloyd on the show. He can talk about why his YouTube channel is taking it. I told him, I said, it's pretty obvious, Boston. You're pretty controversial. There's videos on your YouTube channel where you're injecting stuff into your chest. I said, so I wouldn't be that...
Free speech? I thought you just said it's free. You can do anything you want to yourself.
I guess. Maybe they feel that it's putting out irresponsible... I'm sure, you know what the problem is? Someone doesn't like him, and one of his haters probably turned him in. I think that you can get away with certain people can get away with things if no one complains about it, and then other people don't. So that's all the news that's fit to print. You know what newspaper uses that slogan?
New York Times.
Yeah, very correct. That's like, remember back in the day when Trivial Pursuit was like the big game everyone used to buy, and back in the 80s. There was a game called Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah, of course. I told you there's a Trivial Pursuit, bodybuilding Trivial
right.
Pursuit.
We talked about that. We did talk about that. You see, now I'm showing my dementia right now. I almost blocked that conversation out. Anyway, that's one of the big questions. What newspaper has the byline, all the news that's fit to print?
The fake news that I subscribe to, New York Times. Enemy of the people, that newspaper,
It's amazing. They still, the news. How come the newspapers were able to adapt, but the bodybuilding magazines couldn't adapt? You got all the newspapers online.
Yeah,
right?
I know. True. I don't know. It's a good question.
How come people don't want to see pictures anymore? I mean, the thing about the magazines was not just the articles; it was the visuals. Photographers did photo shoots of competitors back in the day. They don't do that anymore. I mean, maybe very limited basis. I wonder why that wasn't able to be adapted by the magazine owners. Why couldn't Bleckman, see the future that was online and create visual images that, online? People trying to make magazines online. They should have just made like photo files or something like that. I don't know, some kind of like photo articles or something like that, or just almost like videos with all the pictures. I don't know. It just seems like it's a shame that the art of photography has died in bodybuilding, and that these new generation of guys will probably never have any really cool pictures taken of them. The Per Bernals are not doing those photo shoots. The Chris Lunds are not doing those crazy photo shoots anymore that they did back in the day, and we'll never see. All we're getting is selfie pictures, really, and stage shots of guys. It's a whole generation they're gonna miss out on knowing what they're gonna have a lot of selfie pictures, Instagram pictures that we never had back in the day, but they're gonna have no real artistic, intense, well lit, photo shoot pictures.
Yeah, no, I know.
Think about how many cover shots Jay Cutler was on.
Oh my gosh,
Think about that.
That's his office wall.
Sean Roden will never be on a cover of a magazine,
No,
as
Bill,
Mr. Olympia.
Bill will say Sean never got on any covers.
Yeah.
That's what he'll say, something nonsensical.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's never gonna be missed on this generation because no one does photo shoots anymore.
It's a different era. Everything's different.
But you know what? That's the art for we look back and we even Larry Scott had pictures from the Mr. Olympia. 1965. Joe Weider, was shooting pictures of this guy. Lee Haney, Arnold, Sergio, and then you have the modern era, and you have no pictures of these guys. They're selfie shots on Instagram, in front of in the mirror. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I mean, you do have some stage photos that are not bad. There's some decent. We have a good photographer, and there's some Per Bernal pictures floating around, but I just think the whole art form has died, really. Nothing creative anymore. It's
strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's weird. It's weird. These guys put all this time and effort into it, and there's no one shooting them anymore. There's got to be a way to monetize. I think how everything goes forward in a modernistic way, and then you go retro at some point. Everyone goes, well, we can't go forward anymore. Let's go backwards. Let's see what was cool like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I think at some point there's going to be a photographer who comes out and says, you know what? I love the art of photography. I'm going to start shooting all these bodybuilders. Put a book together, or create a website where it's like an Instagram for bodybuilding of just cool images, And so I don't know how they would monetize that, but I think that would be something cool that could be done, and there's got to be a way to monetize it somehow. I don't know. Maybe just having a cool Instagram. But the problem is everyone steals everything. People steal the pictures and put them all over.
Yeah.
So, but it's got to be done. Like I said, I think we're, have you ever seen like a really cool photo shoot with Big Ramy? There's a couple, but there's not a lot around.
I have, but I can't say.
You know how I know that there's no good pictures of the new guys? Because when I go on Google and I Google pictures, to try to use, for I'm doing a video on someone, or I can't find any good pictures. I see this. It's the same like 4 or 5 pictures of the guy over and over and over again, and there's just no good pictures. The only pictures I see of bodybuilders are like pictures that like clothing company or supplement companies commissioned to take so they can use them for ads or stuff like that, or they can use them for like marketing. Those are the only pictures that are being taken of guys. There's no magazines. There's no independent photographers. I think, who is telling me there's a guy in England who does really good photos? And someone I interviewed went out there and took pictures with them because for the very reason that there is no one doing it except this one guy. He charges a lot of money, but he's really good at it. And some of the bodybuilders are going out there because they realize that they're not getting any pictures of themselves. I think that there's a niche that's being lost. Most of the photographers shoot the women, because for the women the women will pay. Women will pay for photo shoots. Men won't.
Why?
Because they always paid. The men think that but duly right. Why should I have to pay for a photo shoot when I'm putting all this time and effort? You guys should want to shoot me to use for your this and that and that and this. But there's no that and that and that and this anymore. The women notoriously didn't appear in magazines at the same rate the men did, so they always had to get photo shoots done for themselves. Women are smart. They want pictures. I want nice pictures. I dieted. I want to show everyone how good I look, and they're smart. So there are photographers that are shooting on a regular basis, people, because these individual people are paying to be shot. You know who's a great photographer? Rob Messino.
Rob Messino.
Yeah, Denise Messino's ex-husband.
Yes. I know
He used to do all the photography for the Muscle Elegance magazine. He's amazing. He's really good. He's in my area. He lives in Fort Myers. He's great. Should take a look at some of the stuff he did. But there's no money in it. There's no money in it. That's why Per Bernal shoots, regular, models now and WWE guys, because there's just not enough money. You know how much money Per Bernal was making from Bleckman back in the day when I worked for that magazine?
Yeah, it got to be $100,000 a year.
No, he was making at least $500,000 a year from Bleckman.
Wow.
He was very, very expensive.
What was he billing?
I told Steve he was crazy when I used to see some of these bills. And he had to bring 2 assistants with him. He had to have hotel rooms and cars and this and that and transportation and meals, and it was costing Blackman a fortune. But Blackman was making money because he was selling advertising like crazy on the magazine. So he did it. I said, Steve, you're crazy. He goes, yeah, but he's got the best pictures in the industry. And I couldn't argue with him. He did. I just said, you can't let him charge this much. This is nuts. He would charge for retouching up, and then he still owned the pictures. Steve was like just buying a couple of pictures and leasing them almost for the magazine. It was nuts. I remember. Per was nice though. If you asked him for pictures personally, like I asked him for a couple 8x10s, and he gave me my pictures, which was really cool of him to use personally.
Well, I guess if you're making $500,000, you could be nice.
And I don't know. He might have been making more than that. I don't know. But I would say if Romano and I figured it out once, it was probably around that much. He was very expensive. But that's those magazines. And I'm sure when Weider was paying Chris Lund, he was probably paying a lot of money for Chris too. These guys were the best in the business at the time. Dobbins was making a fortune too. I don't even know how Dobbins pays his bills anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. Dobbins had a lot of people had crazy studios. Dobbins had a beautiful studio.
Yeah. He wrote that, and Dobbins was multi-talented. He wrote the book with Arnold, the Arnold Encyclopedia. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, no,
he could do everything. He's older now, and he beat cancer 5 times already.
He has.
He's like the immortal man.
Yeah.
So that's the way it went. John Balick was a great photographer too.
Yeah, he had a crazy
Neveu also.
Balick. Did you must have shot with Balick.
No, I shot with Neveu, Mike Neveu. But I know Balick shot pictures at one point too. But it was Neveu had that crazy studio, right? And what was it? What part of Oxnard, California.
Oxnard. Yeah, he moved it up there. It used to be right off Venice Boulevard.
Oh, it was. I used to go to Oxnard every year almost for a couple of years there, and they would shoot. You'd be there all day shooting. He had that dark background look, and he had his own little his own little style they did. Those guys were lighting experts, and you remember they used to do the Iron Man Pro, and the lighting was amazing there. So, all right, that's it. We kind of got a week off from competition. We're back in the swing of things next week, and have a happy Father's Day, Chris.
Same to you.
All right, everyone else, also have a happy Father's Day if you're a father. If you're not, tell your father happy Father's Day. I'm Dave Palumbo with Chris Aceto, and remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
The truth hurts.
good night, everyone.